Here's a spider situation after the first deal. What are our options? Well, one way that I sometimes simplify things is I look for things that can't be moved. For instance, kings can never be moved, until way late in the game, and you complete suits. But here, for instance, I have a 9. Now, there are no 10s showing, so I can't move. Oh, there is a 10. It's sort of it's not a free 10 because it's already been used. It has a 9 on it. So when I talk about how many 10s or whatever, that's what I'm referring to. So anyway, there are no receiving 10s for this 9, so that 9's not going to move unless the situation changes. Similarly with this 9 over here, that's not going to move either. Another thing I notice is that there are no 4s, no receiving 4s. So this 3, that 3, and this 3, I won't be able to make any progress on any of those columns either. So when I look at this situation, I immediately can see that this column 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10 are not anything where we can make progress unless we get more information. Okay. So fortunately, though, the two where we can make some progress are ones with very few cards underneath, so we have a good chance at a space. We can move this 5 onto this 6 and the queen onto the king, exposing there. And we can move this 7 here, the 5 there, the 6 there. Now, in fact, there's good reason to start with this column 8 because it's only got one card under it. But I should note that if you were to get careless and do it in the opposite order, you would be very sorry. If you move this 5 onto the 6, and then, of course, move the queen, but once you move that 5 onto the 6, you've lost a stepping stone. The 6 is a vital stepping stone for getting this done. Once it's not going to use up the 6, so we'll still be able to do that. We just have to be sure to do them in the right order. So here I go. Looking at this first one, it's a king. Well, that's rarely anything we're really very happy about, but there's nothing changes our original plan here, so I put this 5 on this 6, put in the queen, and what do I get? Another queen. Well, it's pretty obvious. That just goes on the king. And another queen. Well, that's not great. I'm not happy in this situation for sure. I do not see a way that I can actually uncover more cards, but there are a few things I could do. For instance, there's this jack sitting here, and there are 3 queens to put him on. So the market value of receiving queens is quite low, and if I move this jack, then this 9 will be atomic for the next round. So I'm going to do that, and naturally I put it on the queen. Well, I want to put it close to the king of diamonds. It's not the highest priority, but in this case, that's a reason to choose among these. Okay. The other thing that I can consider here is, actually, there are a few things I can consider. I now have this 9 of diamonds and then this space over here. Now, it turns out that I will be revealing a 5, and I already have 2 5s and another 5 here maybe, so I don't really want to do that. I mean, it's not a great high priority for me. On the other hand, building up lengthy sequences in suit is a good thing, so I think I'm going to do that. Now, one possibility is to put this 6 of spades on the 7 of clubs, and I'm going to do that. And the main reason is that the 2 of diamonds is underneath, and by doing this, I will create the 3 of spades will become atomic. Here we do this and this, and now anytime you remove a rank break, you're simplifying the situation, improving it a little bit. Now the other thing I could consider here is moving this 2 onto this 3. That would definitely simplify things. However, what that will do is reveal yet another receiving 2. So we would have 3 receiving 2s, whereas we now have just 2. But what it will do is it will take away the only receiving 3 we have will disappear. And so in order to keep some tension, if you will, some potential energy in the game, I will actually leave this 2 of spades right where it is and go on to the next deal. This situation is by no means the greatest. Let's look at the options we have here. One thing we note right away is that there are no receiving 4s, which means that any column with a 3 in it is kind of like dead on arrival, at least would occupy our space. So this column is out, column 2, column 4. This 3 does not need receiving because it's already been received. But so 2, 4, 8, and 8 are all ruled out for that reason. Column 3, we only have 1 10, and we would need 2 to actually make progress. But we'll get back to that in a sec. Basically, there's nothing here that we can do for free. Okay. So what we're going to end up doing is putting this 6 of hearts in the space. But before that, we may want to clean up, and I'll show you some things I have in mind for that. For one thing, here we have Queen, Jack, 10 of diamonds. And with reversible move, I can move that over there, and now we have a sequence of Queen to 4. And that's a very, very helpful thing to have. So now what else can we do? To some degree, we just want to make things as simple and atomic as we can. Over here in this column 3, okay, we can make this atomic. Okay, I'm going to do it, move the 9 over to the 8, and then there's actually a gap between this 7 and 9, so I can actually succeed in making that atomic. Now we'd love to intermix this 9 of clubs, 8 of clubs, 7 of clubs, but we can't get there yet because we don't have a home for this 3. Okay, so the other things here that we can do to clean up are to put this 2 of spades on the 3 and the 2 of clubs on the 3, which will turn this 3 of hearts also into an atomic unit. However, we don't need the space to do any of those things. And since we don't need the space to do those things, we first move the 6 of hearts into the space to get further information. And then, if later, we probably do those same steps. And what do we get? A 9. Well, we certainly didn't really want that, but that's what happened. So now we do those steps we were going to do before. 3 spades over there, the 2 of clubs here, and we now have 1 card in a space and 3 atomic things sitting on top of other cards. And you know, I could move this 2 of clubs under the 3 of hearts or the 5 under the 6, but I don't want to do any of those things. You know, I don't want I don't want to do them. Okay, so here we are ready to do the next deal. There is 1 space here that we could retrieve. We'd love to retrieve it if we could. And getting the jack can be done with the 10 of spades, jack, queen. However, the 6 is stuck because there are no receiving 7s. So we can't get a space. However, we can make some progress in other columns. For instance, here's the one we would most like to look at, and we have 10s to receive that 9, but all we need is a place to put the 8, and fortunately we can make such a place. And I propose to do that by exposing a 2 for the ace, and my intuition tells me that this is the place to do it. This is a column we would like to get in so we can clean things up. It's got potential in that regard. So that's what I'm going to do. First, to look and see if we can get a space. The ace of clubs goes over, and now we use the stepping stone here, and we say we have a queen. Okay, that's yeah, okay. It's not terrific. So we did not get a space. It would be really handy to have a space, naturally. But in the absence of one, we will just have to do the best we can. Here's a column, for instance, that I guess we could actually have made progress in it if we'd thought of it before, but it uses up a scarce jack. It uses up a 4. If this 4 were still available, it would use that. It would use the 6. It's not really where we want to be. So this is the obvious place. We can simply... It's not a bad column to sort of think of as a junk column. So that's what I'm going to do. And we get a 7. Now, a 7 is a wonderful card because this is what allows us to get our space that we originally were hoping for. Now we have that, and we can also move this 7 over when we think it's time to do that. However, we first have various cleaning up that we can do. I still want to dig in here, and I can now, with the space, I can now do that. I now can create a couple of spades over there. And now we have more cleanup we can do. For instance, right here with reversible moves, we could get this 6-5 on this 7, which would be an improvement in the spade situation. Okay, so to do that, it's fairly deep, but I hope we have enough to pull this off. It's an interesting one where I'm going to use one of these as sort of a staging ground to get that out of the way. So now we expose those 6s that we want to move around. Okay. And now we immediately see that some other things we wanted to fix up. We wanted to put this 8 of clubs on the 9, so we can do that. We wanted to put this 9 of clubs on the 10, we can do that. So let's see what we can do in the way of clubs here. If we move this back, we are working on our clubs over there. This is one of these spider situations that's just pretty darn complicated, and I sure as heck am not sure what the best thing to do is in it. We have lots of potential here. We can uncover a card by moving a 10 onto a jack. We can uncover a card by moving a 7 onto an 8. And we can do lots of other stuff too, but I'll tell you where I'm going to start. One of the places I'm going to think about is this Queen Jack of Spades. Now, we're going to put stuff on that 10, but on the other hand, this is a primary place that we might retrieve a space later. But I have a vision here, which I'd like to uncover this whole set of diamonds and put that queen in the space, so that it will be atomic and can be easily retrieved. It's also, of course, the sort of thing that we would love to retrieve if we can. If a king of diamonds and an ace of diamonds came up, we would be delighted there. So, first thing I'm going to do is get at here, and to do that, I need a 2 And here's one here, but I have reason to think that I really want to reveal this one over here in column 9 instead. So I'm going to start doing it with no confidence that this is the right thing to do, but I'll do it anyway. Okay, now I interrupt myself to note that there's a little simple improvement I can do here. Put the ace, move the ace over to be in suit. Okay. So now I uncovered the 2 so I can move the ace. And now I have a 3-2 ace here. I do not have something to put them on right away. I've miscalculated a little bit anyway, because I used up the 4 that I was hoping to use to put that 3 on. So that leaves me muttering here and wondering how else I can do this. Giving up a space is not something that I want to do, just to get these diamonds in the right place. Nonetheless, the more atomic we can make this, the fewer pieces we have, then the better. Okay, so I'm gonna here's a 10 over here that can go in there, but it doesn't do anything but give a space for a jack, and we don't have any jacks, we need homes. But this 10 is one that will reveal a card, so that's my choice. I break up the clubs for the time being, and I move this 10 over, and I find a jack. Well, that's good. It's bad. I had said before that we have a hole here. We actually have one there too, in terms of places that we could tuck a jack in. So now I have to decide which one of them to do that on. I can either do it here or there. That king of diamonds is of course down there, which we're going to want eventually. This situation is complex enough that I don't know the right thing to do, so I'm going to have to guess. One thing on my mind is, I mentioned the previous one that we were hoping to have this queen in this space be atomic. And, well, I can't put this, I wanted to get this 3 and 2 here onto the diamonds, but I can't really do that. Anyway, I'm going to work on the spades here. And to do that, I'm going to dig over here and fish out the 10 and 9. So that's what I start to do. I fished out my 10 and 9 here. Now, the natural, of course, the jack of spades could go on there, but my goal was to keep this as much as possible. Can't talk. My goal was to have this queen be as much as possible atomic. So there's the queen, and now the jack 10-9 goes on it, and it is atomic. And we've got another 10. Okay, so we can make a jack over here. You can expose a jack by using up this 3 and this 6. So we're going to keep that in mind. And by the way, the spades are in pretty good shape, which I can, sort of emphasize by moving that over. Here we have ace to 7 of spades, 9 to queen of spades, and the king of spades is sitting here. Okay. And it would, in a way, be nice to get in there if we can, but it's maybe not so easy. Okay. So what do I do now? Well, I am going to want to move this 10, and I'm going to want to move this 7 and 6, and it's hard to know what order is best to do what in, so what I'm going to do is futz around and hope I'm getting it more or less right. Okay. I'm going to expose that jack. Well, actually, this is only one thing here. I guess I'm going to, well, let's see, yes. I'm going to expose that card, which is a king. Now, ordinarily, kings are not the sort of things that we want to see. However, in this case, the king of diamonds is a vital part of the diamond suit, and the other one is buried pretty deep. So the first thing to do here with two spaces, okay, is to put these diamonds over there, put that over there, and now I have from king of diamonds down to 4. I'd like to get those 3-2 up there, but there's an awful lot in the way that keeps me from doing that. Now, having moved the spades out of the space, there's no longer any incentive to keep them atomic, really. So I'm just going to gather all the spades I can over here. And as you see, we're missing the 8 and we're missing the king. The 8 is nowhere on the board. The king is over here. But, you know, to get to that, I would have to, you know, dig under here. So I keep pausing to wonder if I'm doing the right thing, but I'm gonna get another card. That's what I'm planning to do here. So the ace and 2 goes over there, and I have 2 6s in which I receive a 5. And now, you know, although there's a certain temptation to put this 10 of hearts on there to be in suit, I'm not going to do that. This is a simple move of cleaning things up. I'm going to go with a 10 of spades over that way. And we get a 2 of hearts. Well, what do we think about that? Not thrilled. The ace of hearts can go over as a temporary measure. And now you see this here, we have a sort of we'd love a receiving 3, and we've got one under here. Unfortunately, it's under, you know, a 6, which has no home. But we could do a swap, a roux here, and put the 6 in the space, and thus get that 2 ace out of there. And I think that's about as good as I can imagine at the moment. The other things would be, well, okay, so here's a little tiny thing. Can put the 2 and ace of clubs on the 3. Okay. Now we also have a 5 of spades that we could put on the 6, assuming we can do it, and with 2 spaces we can, a variety of ways. Over here, this would take 2 4s. Yeah, this uses up just way too much stuff. We don't want to put kings in spaces. So the other 2 that are left are these 2 columns, column 2 and 7. Okay. So I will proceed with what I was going to do, which is to put the 6 and 5 in the space, and the 2 and ace of hearts on there, and we get a 7. Well, a 7 is good for retrieving the space, though I can think one step ahead and move this 6 over. Okay. And now we would need an 8 for the hearts, but we don't have an 8. I'm going to just put the 7 and 6 in the space, and I get a 5 of diamonds, and surely it could be a lot worse because I can get that right back now. I do not want 7, 6, and 5 in there and being unatomic, so to speak. So I'm going to look for a way to get around that. Wow, is this complicated. However, this often happens with two spaces especially. You can do things. For instance, see this Queen and Jack of Hearts and see that King of Hearts? Everything is, there are no rank breaks below them, and so one thing we can do is to swap that around. This may not be the most efficient way to do it, but it will work, I think. We can also, we're going to fix that little detail that wasn't right. Okay, we're dealing with that. So for the time being, column 8 can be a junk pile while we get columns 1 and 9 sorted out. And there, I have put the Queen and Jack of Hearts over there. Now, the next part of my plan, which hinges on this card way up here, this little 10 of diamonds, okay? And this King of Spades, because we're very close to having a spade suit, but the only king is this one, okay? And we'd like to get at that so we can put the rest of the spades on it. Well, to do that, we have to deal with this rank break here. However, how am I going to do that? Well, my plan is to give up a space to this queen here, creating a home for this 10, and then hopefully we can do all the swaps we need to get everything in place. This late in the game, uncovering cards isn't the most important thing. Getting organized is generally more important. So here I go. This may be tedious. Got a lot of stuff to do, but it doesn't involve column 1, so we can do that. For the time being, we can let column 9 be sort of a junky column. So we put everything back on that, okay. Now we're going to do diamond stuff. And for that purpose, we'd like to borrow these diamonds, I think. Again, there's no reason to think that this is the most best way to do this, okay? But it is a way to do it, okay? Okay. All right. I will now try what I came here to do. I'm going to now give up the space at this moment right now. Thunk. And then here come the diamonds over. There come the diamonds over. Now, this is the key swap I wanted to do here, is getting that Queen of Spades over onto here. Now we have King to 9. And just to kind of show where we are, see, there's our spade suit complete except for the 8, okay? I can try to recreate the diamond suit as best I can there. And now I want to get this atomic. Now with one space left, you couldn't ordinarily just move that 3, but you can borrow from the spades. So that lets me do this. So at this point, I'm just going to move this up uncover the card here and hope it's something good. It is an ace of diamonds. That is the card that would let me complete the diamond suit, but I don't have the wiggle room to do that at the moment. So we'll just see what we get. We get an 8. See, here's where I'd love for this to have been atomic, but it wasn't. This is kind of a junk pile at the moment. And now we get a 6. Okay, now this is good. This lets us actually take advantage of this 8 and get the 7 up there. I can do it by way of this one instead. Okay. So now I have a space again. So I think what I'm just going to do, although having this intuition, oh yeah, here I can make things a little better, I think. It's going to just put the 6-5 in the space, but I can put those spades there, so when the 6-5 comes up, it can be this little bit over here anyway can be in order and not messed up. Okay. So now what do I have? Okay, I have well, I only have 4 piles with any cards at all. 3 of them have kings on top. And just moving this into the space is very difficult because I don't have a 9 of hearts. If I had a 9 of hearts, I could swap this around. But I don't, so I have to think of something to do. You know, sometimes you can dig way deep and find things, like under this king of hearts, a huge long suit, there's a queen. If I could put the king in the space, I could use the queen. But in this case, the queen doesn't do me any good. Okay. I don't want to move that king in the space. This looks fine the way it is. You know, things could be a lot better, but they could be a lot worse. So now it's a matter of what do we put in that last space? And this is a case where the main criterion, I think, is increasing the odds of being able to retrieve some space. Now, it's nice we have 3 atomic things in already there, but we can hopefully do even better. So how do you make the highest odds? Well, you find something where there's already the most. For instance, there are 2 5s showing, 2 receiving 5s, and by putting this 4 of hearts in the space, 1, 2, 3. Of course, there's other stuff. When the other cards come down, we'll have other work to do, but you know, at least one step of the process for getting a space will be a little easier, because when it comes time to move this 4, there are potentially 3 places to move it instead of just 1. And so now it's time for the next deal, I guess. One way that Spider Solitaire players get frustrated, sometimes they can have a great game, and then the last 10 cards that come up do not allow any moves, and so they lose. Here I am the next to last deal, but I'm in similarly a not very happy situation. Okay. Just going from left to right, there's no 4s to take this 3, there's no kings to take this queen. This is, you know, all in order, so doesn't really help us out. No 10s to take this 9, no queens to take this jack. We can move this 3, but it doesn't lead us to anything. No 8s to take the 7. We can move the 6, but once again we just end up looking at a pile of straight pile of cards. We can move this ace, but then what do we do next? Okay, so sometimes you can get out of a situation like this if you can build a suit, and in fact, we could be a lot worse off in that regard. For instance, we got the 3 of diamonds. So here's your diamond suit: 1, ace, 2, 3, 4 to king, and we can do a little on that. We can move these hearts over, move those diamonds over, move this 2 and 3 over, and now we're stuck because this 3 can't go anywhere. Okay. We did not get an 8 of spades, so we can't remove the spades, and nothing else was organized and close enough to be able to pull off. Okay, so we can look at, what else we want to do here. For instance, here, if we get an 8 of hearts, sometime we'd be able to do this next time. One question is whether I want to put this 2 on this 3 and this ace on this 2. I don't really know how to judge that. We're itching to remove the diamonds, and if we make this more complicated, then that will make that more problematic. So what I'm going to do, without having any real good idea whether it's a good idea or not, is I'm just going to move this ace onto the 2, and move this 5 onto the 6 to make something in suit. And then I'm going to make the last deal. Sometimes you can recover, sometimes you can't. Ooh, that's nice. I got 3 kings, plastered 2 of my spaces with kings. And I'll now have to pause and see if I can find a way to get out of this mess. This is one of these end games that reminds me of starting a car. The motor turns over, and you hope it catches. And this is the sort of thing where if we can get a little breathing room, we can probably get this all off. But how are we going to get the breathing room? I think I can get the diamond suit off here, which gives us 1 space, and hopefully everything will go from there. But I'm going to not talk too much about this while I do it, because it's very complicated, of course, the way these things tend to be. I'm going to make the space here for this, put that 3 over there, and now we have the diamond suit out of the way. And now, with a little luck, we'll be able to get other stuff working. We did get the 8 of spades, so that means if we can uncover those spades, then we can probably get our spade suit too. And this is this case where there are 2 kings of spades, but this one is probably what we want. Let me see if I can get my way through to here. Yes, it's looking like I'll be able to do that. However, as I say, I don't want to remove this one. Maybe that 5 will be useful, but I'm not going to count on it. What I know will be useful is being able to put that queen on the king. So first I move the queen over, then I go and retrieve the suit, and then I now have 2 spaces, and things should be looking quite a bit better. I'll just keep this going, but may not say very much. We'll see. What do we got for clubs? King, queen, jack, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ace. We have clubs. We have the 2 kings of clubs. There's 1 there and 1 there. We'd really love to have a 2 so we could get rid of this ace, but the only 2 is up under there. And that requires moving this out, moving that out. Probably work eventually, but... And the other folks, of course, are the diamonds, which, the hearts. There's your king, queen, jack. Here's king, queen, jack, two different places. There's the 10, the 9, 8, the 7, 6, the 5, the 4, 3, 2, ace. So there's the hearts. Now the hearts have the advantage that if we get this king out of here, we know what to do with the queen of spades, and we can get a space back. So I'm going to start working on that. See this 10 of hearts, well, 9 of hearts does not have a place to go, so that's using up a space. So I want to make sure I can pull this off. The 9-8 could go in there, the 10-9 could go there, the 10-9 could go there, this 8 goes there. So here's something where it just simplifies things a bit. You know, you have this big fat long bit of hearts. And now look at this. Well, hold on, we're not quite there yet. We use up the space. There's that. There's that. And now we've got our hearts gone. And now usually when you get 3 suits and 3 spaces, maybe more spaces, then you can rest pretty easy. Now here, if we use this king of clubs or the clubs, we expose a 5, which is not very useful to us. This king of clubs will at least expose something random, which might be worthwhile. There's the 5, 7, 6. Oh, we have a 9. That's nice. When you get towards the end, naturally enough, you tend to find the right cards because eventually there's the right number of everything in the deck, you know. Okay, here's 4. 7's over there, 3, 2, ace. So we got that. We got one of each suit, and usually that's pretty good. I got no place for this 9. If we expose this 6, we can get a space back. Over here, we don't have a 4, It's not really the best place to go. So I'm going to do this one. All kinds of ways this can proceed here. There's a 4, that's wonderful. Here's, let's see, the 4, 3. Now we have 3 spaces. And let's see. I think maybe just putting this in the space is as good as anything. There's a 7. Okay, now we can do a swap to gain a space. Put this king in the space, we lose 1, but then we get back by putting this 6 here and that ace there. So it actually found a better way to do it. So now we've got our 3 spaces back. Once again, this looks kind of poisonous. Use up everything to get that. I can do a little bit of cleaning up here. For instance, there's the 9. Get that 9/8 there. Sure, I'm not doing this the most efficient way, but what the heck. There's an ace of hearts. Okay, well, I'm not at all sure this is the best way to do it, but Jack of clubs, we have a home for that. There's a 10 of clubs. That's very nice. Now this 9 should go over there. Wouldn't surprise me if there's actually some suit here that I could remove if only I took the time to do it, but for instance, eventually you got to put this king in this space. Is this a suit? Yeah, got a suit. Sometimes toward the end it suddenly goes very fast. Can you see how to do it? Well, so that's a 1 game.